To state of play on the day when the finance minister's fate will be decided in Parliament. And by the way, I'm of the view the vote of censure in Parliament is just for the cameras. It is just, formality to get the NDC side to, show to the world that they did something. But I don't know why I get the sense that we are being played in all this.
Oh, I think, you're not alone. People of this republic have seen through some of the charade that actually surrounds our politics. So put up a show, because it's not reasonably possible that a group, and let's be fair to ourselves, this same NDC and whichever grouping that was actually putting up their defense, one of the worst things they did in history was the people who went to defend and query the minister on that day when the minister appeared. I was convinced they had no better case against him.
Yeah.
To be fair. So, and I heard other people who are not partisan in their thinking saying, oh, Mensah, the man acquitted himself very, very well. Not because he had done nothing wrong, quite frankly, but because the people could not hold up their case against him. And I do not see why that should be an issue that you are pursuing any further, if not for partisan reasons anyway. So, and I heard people even support the NDC saying that, Charlie, this kind of engagement they did there, it was so terrible. You ask yourself who selected the people who went to present the case? Who selected the people who went to actually make the argument and confront the man with the evidence they have in this case? That was the day many people concluded it was a shambolic process. Not because they don't want the man to be involved or removed from office, but because they felt there is some form of, sometimes I don't want to say that the minority, majority, or parliament, or the entire governance is some cahoot deliberately throwing dust in the eyes of the people, pretending out there that, because you see, pretending out there is what's really happening. On one hand, this same minority says they have approved policy, they've not approved main budget. What happened last year? Last year, they didn't know that they could approve policy and not approve main budget.
At the end of the day, to approve.
Yeah,
they cannot approve.
To be fair, so I have not followed keenly. I may have the opportunity to discuss it because that's what I do.
Because
I left the process deep within my heart.
The outcome is predetermined.
So one of the things we should stop people in this country is taking the people for granted.
Yeah.
And you listen to it, the other group, the majority, they say, oh, we want the man out. We don't want to hear him. Yes, he read the budget. We want the man out. We want to do everything to prevent him from doing it, but we don't agree with the minority when it comes to removing him.
Yeah. It tells the whole story. By the way, it's related. Let's talk about why we are here. So this week, the much anticipated, much speculated haircut arrived. So, when the president said, oh, no haircut. Yeah, the haircut arrived. You're going to take a haircut on your principal if you're an institutional investor. But they said, individual investors or bondholders will not be affected. And I applaud them for that. However, the institutional investors hold the bonds on behalf of individuals.
The majority of the people for their amount.
Because to be fair, no bank owns money of themselves. Yeah. No bank. A bank is a bank because it holds people's money.
That's true.
So whatever money that they've put in the bonds are your money. Whatever money the pension fund is holding, having bought government bond, is your money. Same with the insurance firms, etc., etc., etc. So that cut is a very steep cut. 137 billion cedis worth of debt that they want to pass on to the people. So I began to see a clear dichotomy between the government, what appears to be the government's afro, and the people's haircut. And if you begin to go through the budget, you begin to see line by line how government is maintaining the afro and drastically giving you a Santo haircut, which for me, we need to call out.
The convenience is when Deputy Minister for Finance sits in the studios of Joy FM and is asked a simple question. Simple, Mensah. All these purported expenditure cuts that you say you are going to do, how much would it take down of your entire expenditure budget? I don't know. Seriously, Deputy Minister.
And for me,
I don't think he doesn't know. To be fair, I think that he might deliberately be hiding that information because of how insignificant it is.
They don't know. You know why they don't know? Because they were cosmetic cuts to please the people. They knew they were coming to ask you, they're going to cut your hair, they're going to give you Santo haircut. And they know if they come and give you the Santo haircut, you say, but you're afro, your boy, you're afro. You are even styling it with Jerry curls.
Yes.
You are buying expensive Jerry curls into the afro, and it's growing.
Beyond that, you are actually doing a hair transplant to fill it up.
To fill yes.
That's what you are doing.
So
really.
to show you that some cosmetic, we have done some, 50 cuts in full allocation, ban on. The first difference I noticed between the government afro and the people's haircut. The people's haircut is quantifiable. It is hard, tangible numbers.
And they know the numbers.
The people's haircut will deliver us 137 billion cedis in debt savings.
That's true.
Over 10 years.
They know every part of it.
The government's afro, the executive government's afro,
it's by the grace of God.
We can't tell you. By the end
of the day, we achieve it or we don't achieve it, we don't even know.
It's not quantifiable. It is so vague. That is one. And then when you go to the budget, Raymond, you begin to see that whereas the government is saying we the people must take a haircut on our interest and bonds, etc. going forward, they have a budget for 2023, the worst economic year of a generation, that is expansionary. That is actually projecting to spend more in a year of massive, unprecedented, historical, cataclysmic, catastrophic economic downturn. You are projecting to spend more. How much more? 227 billion compared to 45 billion the year before. Who does that? I mean, take your family. If you wake up one day and you realize that you are heavily in debt because you've been living beyond your means at home, your bankers are calling, they're coming to possess your home. Your school, your children are going to school. The teachers are saying you haven't paid your fees.
Yes.
You haven't paid water bill. That is when you decide, the afro this week, I am going to spend 100,000 cedis.
We are doing house party. Yeah, we are buying, what they call it? We are building a new swimming pool.
Yes, in your house.
Yes, in the same house. The house that cannot pay for water.
Yes.
A building swimming pool.
Yes.
We are going to buy a new car. If you should take your time. I mean, listen, poverty, kafu didi. So you have to actually spend
more. But we were told that by the former chairman, immediate past chairman of the party, or kafu didi.
Yes. So that's when you decide that you are going to actually be extravagant and ostentatious in your spending.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes politicians take the people for granted.
Not sometimes. In Ghana, all the time.
Yeah. So these same guys, I mean, in crisis, they watch football. They travel out there to go and watch it. They don't care about the debate. But when it comes to one of their own being in trouble, wherever they are on the earth, they'll come back.
They'll come.
They masked up in the parliament fully. They have abandoned work in various ministries.
You made a fantastic point. One of the cuts, one of the government cuts they announced, it includes only essential official foreign travel. This budget was read on the day Black Stars played his first game.
Yeah.
Okay. The very next day, we had at least two ministers, cabinet ministers I saw, the energy minister and the communications minister roaming in Qatar. Yeah. Are they trying to tell us that flying to Qatar is an essential travel? Maybe they'll come and say, they went there on their own resources and whatever. But that was the time the budget was being debated. Yeah. The budget that they said will save us was being, but they were gone. Today, when it had to do with the not even political whatever, with the job, with the job of the finance minister, one man. I've seen everybody. I've seen Matupoku Prempe and Eslawusu, the two people who were chilling in Qatar and left the budget. I've seen them seated in the front row. Yeah. They are coming to defend Ken Ofori-Atta, the individual, but they won't defend the budget of the people. The budget you claim will save us, you abandoned it. But when it came to the job of the man who obviously has failed us, shambolic mismanagement of the economy, you quickly find wherever you are, you left your job to. That tells you something. I said something yesterday that they don't care about you. This is an example. You check, go to JoyNews now, check the live feed, and you will see front row, you see these two same ministers who left the budget and abandoned it and left when they were debating the things that will save you. Today, they are back. Why are they back? Because one man's job is more important than you.
One of their own. The very special group of people that we take care of as a country, the people that we give our power to, our responsibility to make sure that they work for us. The people that actually will be more interested every morning thinking about the state first, because they have front row, what they call engagement with the people. They have actually sworn oaths of office to do good by we, the ordinary people of this country, and represent our interests all the time. At some point, we need to understand, if you want to really survive in this country, you need to understand that the people who are the helm of office don't care that you are there. They are just there to make themselves better and improve their lives and move on with it. But you allow it, because in this conversation we are having today, like we've had in times past, there are some of you, my compatriots, who do not have money like me. Some of you are also benefiting small. So, but you are just like me. You are not at the helm of affairs. You are just a hanger-on, and you are just getting some money small. They are not making your life better so that you can be independent of them. Without them, you cannot survive. You will come up in the comments and come and write comments like, oh, these people don't know what they're talking about and all of that. The day you decide that you side with those who are making your life not better, but making it worse off, that day, you fail to represent your own people too, because you also represent families. You are within a group of people that's supposed to be doing well for you. The point I'm trying to make here is that if people are angry, that I cannot accept this form of haircut. And there's a proverb in my hometown. If you do not complain, literally translate, about the kind of haircut you are giving, they will give you a very terrible one, right from the beginning. This haircut you're getting is terrible. Yesterday, Professor Acquah said it is morally wrong. It's grossly disappointing. It's dangerous. It's going to destroy a certain section of the finance system. And when they tell you they're going to give you buffer, they are saying that they are looking for 137 billion. In the fiscal stability, what they call a council statement, they give the indication that 15 billion is what they are looking for. Today, you are not being told whether or not the 15 billion will be enough to take care of all the difficulties that will come out of this. And in this country, we hardly take out social cost. So we may consider the people who are to be paid and all of that. We hardly take care of the repercussions of those who might lose their jobs because they went to finance houses that no longer need them. We hardly take care of that particular group too. So let's move it along those lines. We are being given a solid deal, but the people who are not willing to. This morning, during the morning show, Aaron put up a question about what government should do. Evans, go through the over 200 answers that people gave there. Cut this, cut that, reduce the number of ministries, reduce the number of ministers. Please, you can't be doing these things. Stop doing this, stop doing that. I am convinced that most of these suggestions are coming from well-meaning people. And that they mean well because they want their country to thrive. If this was a company, the
first thing you do is downsize. It is no brainer.
No, the people in government, some of them have run big companies before. They know that is what they'll have to do first.
When the first thing you do is to downsize. You start cutting. By the way, today let's do something. I want to announce phone lines. You can call in and have your say and chat with us. 030-2211-705 or 6. So 030-2211-705 or 6. 030-2211-705 or 6. Call us and have a chat. Raymond, I want to break this down a bit further to show you how the government is keeping this afro whilst asking you to take a haircut. The government has a few flagship programs. They call it flagship program because it's a political promise they want to fulfill. All of them are good. Right? They are good interventions.
Principally intention.
Yeah, I mean, the intention is good, etc. I mean, free SHS, Plan with Food and Jobs, One DY, they're good, fantastic programs. But when you are facing a catastrophic crisis of economic mismanagement and an economic crisis, what you do, as we've explained in every home, is not to expand. No matter how good the investment is, you do not expand it at the time of grave economic crisis. The best you can do is maintain it. Maintain the investment and keep it just at float until you make money. In fact, the best thing to do is to cut.
Yeah.
Is to cut. And then you make savings. So what will happen? The good policy doesn't collapse altogether. Right? So you see businesses doing that. They downsize. They keep the business afloat. Because the downsizing, the business stays afloat and then rides the storm. After the storm, what they do, most of the businesses, they'll rehire.
Yeah.
They're able to rehire. And then a lot of the people who lost their jobs.
And multinationals also do the same.
Yes. They'll bring them back in. That is what you do. The business is good. You don't expand.
Yeah.
When your business is facing a crisis.
You don't aim to spend more.
No.
Yeah.
Right? You downsize, you lay a few people off, you cut here and there, you assure them, we hope that the cut will help us stay afloat. When we ride the storm, we will hire. And that's what they do. But look at what the government is doing. This government that runs this entity called Ghana, this is what they're doing. In a time of crisis, you take free SHS. 2022, they allocated 2.3 billion cedis to it. 2023, the year of crisis, they've increased it by 660 million. Planting for food and jobs. Another one. Last year, they allocated 630 million. This year, they've allocated 70 million more. You take 1D, 1F. Last year, they allocated 260 million. This year, they've allocated 90 million more. The analogy I gave you, when your company and your business and your family is in crisis, you do not expand. You don't spend more. What you do is to cut so you survive the storm, and then you thrive after the storm, and then you go back to enhancing what you've done. But you have a government doing the opposite. Let's go on. You still have in this budget, an emergency budget, a crisis budget, government still allocating funds for fantasy projects, for what I call vanity projects. 80 million for the cathedral. I mean, for Christ's sakes, who does that in the midst of an economic crisis?
Especially when you told us that there is no time limit on when to actually build this cathedral.
Who does
and that some took a very long time to build anyway.
Raymond, you know what hurts me when you look at the 80 million they've allocated for it? You see, this is opportunity cost, right? 80 million for cathedral means 80 million less for something more important. Well, let me tell you one of the things that you can't argue is far more important than a cathedral. It is water and sanitation. This is a president who came into power promising to make Accra the cleanest city in the world. He says that because he recognizes the sanitation is a big deal. Water and sanitation.
Open defecation problems are always staggering.
Water is life. Cathedral is not life.
I agree with you.
I will not die if I don't have a cathedral. I will die if I'm thirsty. I will die even worse than horrible if the water is polluted and dirty.
That's true.
Right? Do you know how much they allocated to water and sanitation in the 2023 budget? 74.4 million cedis.
It's not surprising that.
Do you know how much the cathedral allocation is? 80 million.
So which was your priority?
I mean, it is so shocking that words can't describe why they will do this, why they will decide to spend our money this way.
Ideally, people will be so angry that government will drop this particular expenditure line. People will be writing memos, letters, insisting that, please, we need more of this. On the day, International Day for whatever that recently they talked about during the national toilet or whatever, the staggering figures about people who do not have a sanitary place to do the things they have to do. They are just huge. But you think about it, that gives you cholera and all the waterborne diseases. It increases your disease burden. So you have to spend more in health to actually spend. So far, one of the things that every state is interested in I am not sure there's an HDI anywhere in the world. The Human Development Index has never added whether or not people have cathedrals as part of the criteria for human development.
No.
But access to water, clean drinking water, is so important that it is almost always an indication of how a state is doing what is right and how people will survive. For you to spend less on cathedral compared to this shows that you are deliberately interested in pretending that you are serving God when the very basic things that the people deserve, you do not want to do it. In any case, why? We put together a government. We didn't put together a church.
Yeah.
We all know which religious group we belong to. And if you ask Christians to build their own church, they do. Look, they do all the time. You see, Catholic Church has built so many cathedrals all over the place.
Raymond,
it didn't require the government to do the same.
Let me add,
why are we bent on doing this to ourselves?
What you're just saying. The World Bank says Ghana loses 420 million cedis annually due to poor sanitation. Yeah. Right? To make it worse, 19,000 Ghanaians, including 5,100 children under 5, they die each year due to poor sanitation, diarrhea, etc.
And poor sanitation, please don't get it wrong. Two main key elements: having access to toilets, having clean water. That's how we define it consistently. So those who do not get a spectrum price.
And this is the World Bank.
Yeah.
So you have 19,000 Ghanaians, 5,100 children dying each year in Ghana because of poor water and sanitation environment and situations, diarrhea, etc. And yet, we are budgeting to spend far more building a phantom, needless cathedral, and spending less, that is 74 billion on water and sanitation. That is killing 19,000 Ghanaians annually.
All that we are saying is that this particular incoming year, we are so concerned that we want about 19,000 Ghanaians to die so that we can have a church. We can have a building. In fact, I will not describe it as a huge, senseless cathedral in that what they call it. But you put it on the main slate. It's because they know they can get away with this.
They know.
Because this is our budget. Who actually appoints somebody as a rep? And the rep now prioritizes things important to the person who's actually making the decision and not the people who actually appointed the person. How is that possible? So today, we ask you to go and represent us. Then you said, no, for my comfort, I want a new car. I actually think that I need a new big house to live in. But you, the people I'm representing, you stay in penury. You suffer more. Many of you will die because the poor will always be with us. That senseless decision cannot be made in a democracy. So we pretend we are running a democracy. Because in a democracy, everything you do directly affects the people's lives. You account for every single loss of life. And you see, we are not asking that all the ministers in this area should be sacked because they are doing a poor job. We are just saying that spend their money right. And today, in this century, this 21st, so this is not 14th century, nobody should die from poor sanitation. 21st century. While people are going to space, doing very wonderful things, people are turning robots into pure working elements. We are fighting basic things like where you are going to defecate next. Really?
And we are spending 80 million on the president's vanity project. Let's get in Felix. Is it Felix? Edward, talk to me.
Hello.
Hi, Edward.
I have a little problem concerning what you were discussing.
Okay, please share with us.
The government is giving us an health cut, whereby we the ordinary citizens are suffering. And if the government in power is not ready to reduce the size of its government. Sometimes when we think about these things, I think it's high time the government thinks of what to do to solve the problem or the mess that we find ourselves in.
Edward, let me ask you, what do you want to see the government cut?
It should reduce the size of government.
Here we go.
The expenditure is too much. They should reduce it. Thank you.
Edward, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It is a no-brainer. Okay, so let me give you more on Edward's point. Why Edward is making such a fantastic point. Raymond, so I want to use the Constitution to make an assumption. The Constitution says that Cabinet should have between 10 and an upper limit of 19.
Yeah.
The framers of that constitution knew that this country, we can run it with at most 19 ministries. 19 ministries. And so that's why they said that. Of course, it didn't limit you. You can appoint as many as you want, right? You can have many ministries as you want. But there's a reason why they say 10 to 19. Because they believe if you take it, now we are 30 million. That time we were doing the constitution where, you know, possibly in the
1992,
right?
Yeah, we were less than 30 million.
So you can run this country.
20
you can
million
run this country with that. And the reason why we can is that if you go to the UK, of almost 70 million people, they have 23 ministries. If you go to the US, of 300 plus million people, they have 15 cabinet secretaries. We have 19, so we are even above that. Okay. If you look at the budget, right, and that's the reason why Edward is so right. If you look at the budget and you work with the 19, in an economic crisis, it's fair to expect that you slash to your barest minimum the constitutional limit for you, because you can't have less than 9. Because when you do that, you know, in fact, you can even have less. You can have less than 10
anyway.
Exactly. So you can slash. Let's say keep you at 19, right? And I've shown you that you can, because US is doing it and UK has.
But to be fair, if the person is not sitting in cabinet, where the major decisions are being made, why are they every minister in the first place?
So, Raymond, let me back Edward's point. Allocations to all the ministries that we have for 2023 is 72.8 billion. If you reduce it to 19, the cabinet level upper limit, right? You will reduce that allocation to 66.9 billion. You will save this country 5.81 billion. Now, let me tell you what you can do with that money. Coming back to the haircut they are giving us. They're SNIT. Our pensions, that's it, SNIT have taken a lot of our money and bought bonds.
That's true.
So SNIT will be exposed to the haircut. With SNIT is exposed to the haircut indirectly. Me and you, we are exposed.
Yes.
Do you know how much SNIT exposure to the bond is? SNIT exposure to the bond, according to the finance ministry, is 540 million. So if you do that cut, you will have you can clear SNIT's, you can pay back SNIT's debt. Yeah. Right? And exempt and clear.
You can make the people comfortable.
Yes.
So that you reduce the number of appointees who are on your bill.
Yes.
We are not saying that don't make them rich.
Yes.
Because in this country, it's not you being minister that makes you rich.
So you will clear SNIT, you will exempt SNIT's pension fund that will be locked though in the haircut.
You have no problems with the labor unions that are complaining. In fact, that's enough to actually solve their problem.
5 billion. Yeah. You have far more left to also clear. You know, insurance companies.
Yes.
They are also heavily exposed.
That's true.
Right?
They are so worried about it.
Do you know what their exposure is to the haircut? 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
1.9 billion is their exposure to the thing. Again, that 5 billion you will save will clear them.
Yeah.
You know who else? Then there are standard loans that people, have been invested. The exposure is 380 million. That will be clear. So you can exempt, you can pay off the debt that SNIT and our pension funds at SNIT may be exposed to the haircut with the savings. You clear off insurance companies' bond holdings, so you give them a haircut. You clear standard loans, and you know how much excess you have, the surplus you have. You will still have 3.8 billion.
That's more than how much we are giving to free SHS.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, see, listen, it's priorities. I mean,
here we go.
It's priorities. So if we really want to prioritize, we can prioritize, except that there is this thinking that a couple of people own the country and that they can do with it what they want. And that merely because, but this president begged people to vote for him. Yeah. He asked that he be tried. He said he's not come for his comfort. And he actually told his people that do not pursue money if you want to come into my government. He, at a point, had 120 or so ministers in his government. 80. Yes, 80 or so. But you see, if 80 has not delivered, why do we think that keeping high numbers does any high job?
We have another call, do we? Okay, we're waiting for one more call, and then we'll wrap up. But Edward is so spot on that. We have countries far bigger running the administrations with 15, USA, 15 cabinet ministers. We are a parliament of 90. You can do this very easily, especially because you are facing a crisis. Say that again. I've seen some of you are on Zoom. Please turn on your camera and then you can unmute. Once we see you, we'll invite you to join us. We'll invite you to join us this conversation. So unmute and join us. Do we have some comments on the live stream?
Yes, I was trying to trace some of them, but I should be able to get all of them together. Now, the other concern that has been expressed greatly about how we are not having all of this conversation at the right places is that it appears the people are not being heard. It's not enough to just say that there's a budget and there's all of these things. You ask yourself, so we are supposed to be partners in development, please, what role is our partnership here? Which partner is consistently kept silent and your views don't matter in this country? Yeah. Because, okay, let me read this one for Suleimana. Please, let's march to the president's office and cry. Maybe he will listen to cut down his government. And maybe it's something that sounds reasonable because it looks like all the options have been tried. We speak, it doesn't get heard. You say all the things that you want to say, but it's not. But how is it possible that in any participatory democracy, the people that you represent say, this is what we want, and it's not happening? There is famous myth. The government wants citizens to sacrifice, but not ready to sacrifice themselves. This is very pathetic.
Real Was says, it is heartbreaking listening to you discussing the details of this 2023 budget. And William says, Real Was, kindly send me friend request. I have a great good news for you.
Famous Smith says,
look at who I've seen that is watching us. We are greeting him, Daniel Yaudemelevo.
Oh, okay. Auditor General. Yeah, people say you are enjoying elsewhere, but you know,
I mean, we greet you.
yes.
We greet you, sir. I know yesterday Occupy Ghana issued a statement also asking for a cut in government. One of the things they said, they should return to the surcharge that Daniel Yaudemelevo started.
Yeah. And that's interest of 5.5 billion. I mean, if you not, you see, there's a saying there that if you cannot do extraordinary things, please do the ordinary things. 5.4 billion was our standard. Now, every time we are discussing, we have seen this rot, please, we are moving beyond that too. Reporting rot or reporting irregularities is not where we left our business. We moved to a point where we were surcharging, taking money, some of them fought in court and got their money. That's fine. But I mean, well, the people even went to mass up at the place. They say, do some action, we'll try and work at it. I feel maybe I am growing tired of this country. I feel when we complain and want better systems for our people, we take one step forward and take two steps backwards. And we go in circles after that. We stay in those circles and we don't want to fix it. Yeah. I don't know what's it with our own selves that, because this one, you're not starting this afresh, so it's not difficult. When Domelevo was starting it, he required court cases and all of that.
It's been settled.
Occupy Ghana helped out.
Settled.
So why are we still on this plate?
It is such a low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
We won't pluck. Anyway, Aloko says, I agree with you. Some people think Ghana belongs to them. What Nana and Ken Atta is doing is creating history. Williams, Kofu Boris, the majority side in Parliament today, I think, is simply not being serious with us Ghanaians. Okay, he also shares his view there. Do you have anybody on the line or on Zoom? No? Okay, good. Yeah, any more you have? If not, we'll call it a day.
Certainly. We can. No, there was a message that I missed from the famous Smith one, who was then talking about why we are not being heard and why there is a need for us to continue talking about some of these things. But I agree that, the thing with democracy is that they say the freedom of, the cost of freedom is eternal vigilance, right? So you need to consistently push so that the right thing is done. Because every time there's a minister who is installed in place and increase the number until it goes up, you lose something. You're either losing some school somewhere, you are losing some cost somewhere, you are losing maybe a budget line that could increase the cost of feeding a child somewhere. Yeah. So it's not magic. The money we have not have, that's why it's scarce resources. Yeah. If we had it in abundance, some of these conversations can never happen. No. Because we can solve our problems. We don't be borrowing money and be doing debt restructuring and all of the other conversations. Maybe we'll get to the time where we are so disciplined that we will do the right thing consistently. But now it demands of all of us in this republic to contribute to making sure that the right thing is done. Yeah. So it's not only that you have employed people to do the right job for you, you need to consistently make sure that the right thing is done. And maybe if we do that, we'll get the results that we demand. But after what is happening in Parliament today.
Anyway, people, listen, this is your country, and you've heard the details. You go to the budget. I mean, you go to my journal, you see the analysis I made here. It's there. You can watch it and download and read.
In fact, there's a video of it also on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are there. The numbers do not lie. Forget about the propaganda. The numbers are hard facts. How you spend 80 million against 74 million for, what do you call it?
When water and sanitation.
I don't know how you can justify that. By the way, enjoy the rest of your day.